If you're learning a language on your own, do you know exactly what you need to learn today or what to learn tomorrow? If you're like most solo learners, you don't. And if you don't know your next steps, then you'll forever be hopping around from resource to resource and never make progress. But if you're learning with our system, today you'll discover the most important learning tool in our learning system, the dashboard, how it keeps you going with language learning instead of wondering what to do, and how to customize your learning so you can focus on areas like speaking, listening, or grammar. But first, if you don't yet have access to our language learning system, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description to get your free lifetime account. So let's jump in. I'll guide you through our learning system so you get to see exactly what's inside and our members-only study tools. Okay, so in this video, let's talk about the dashboard. The dashboard is kind of like your home base for your learning on our website. So let's take a look at what you can do with the dashboard and how you can use it to make your studies easier, more fun, and more effective and efficient too. So first, how do we access the dashboard? You can find the dashboard from any page on the website. Just click on the dashboard link in the top left side of the page. So you'll find a page that looks a little bit like this. You will have your profile, so your name, your level here. And then on the top right, you will see your study statistics. So this will show you very quickly how many lessons you have completed. So completed is an important word there. How many lessons you have finished. You will also see the number of flashcards you have reviewed, and you will also see your total number of hours studied here. So if you want a little bit more information about this and get a report, if you want to get a report of that, you can click on the View My Report button to find more information there. But let's continue on down the page. The next section is the My Pathways section. So this part is probably the part you are going to spend a lot of time in. In the My Pathways section, you can see all of the different pathways that you have started or completed on the website. So in this case, there are 4 different pathways, and 3 of them are marked with this green check mark. So this shows that the pathway is completed. You have studied all the lessons in that pathway. Nice job. You will also notice that this one at the top in this example has this Go to Lesson button on the right side. Yeah. So this means that this pathway has a lesson that is ready for you to study next. So the idea here is that we've solved the issue that many learners have, especially when they're studying alone, which is that they don't know what to study next, right? If you study with a lot of YouTube videos or podcasts or something, it might not be clear what the next thing is that you need to study. But if you come to your dashboard every day like this, you can very easily see what the next lesson is that you need to do, and you can just click on the Go to Lesson button to get started. So this is very, very helpful if you're ever kind of not sure what you should be doing next. So make sure that you check the Pathways section every time you log in to see what your next lesson is. Quickly, let's take a look at the bottom section of the page. You'll find at the bottom some featured lessons, which means some lessons that we think might be good or interesting for you. You'll also find in the latest news section information about things like sales and discounts and new features and new tools that you can use on the website. So take a look here to see if there's something that might be useful for you. Finally, at the bottom, we have featured vocabulary lists. So again, just some ideas for you to help you with your studies. If there's something you haven't studied, you might notice it here. Then the last thing that I want to talk about is regarding the pathways section. So let's say that you reach a point where all of your pathways are green, right? How do you go on to the next level? Like if you finish all of the level 1 things, how do you move on to the next level? You can do this in 2 different ways. First, you can click this Browse All Pathways button. This will take you to our lesson library. You can also access this by clicking on the Lesson Library link from the Lesson drop-down menu at the top of the page. So this will take you to the lesson library. Here, you can see what you are studying now, right? So this is the absolute beginner pathway. In this case, you can see all of the different lessons that are inside the pathway and all the information on this page. But if you know you are ready to move on to the next level, or if you just want to take a look at the different lessons that are available, you can go to this drop-down menu on the top right here, and you can see all of the different levels on this section. So you can click the level that is interesting to you or that you want to check out, and it will take you to that page. So here again, you can see all of the information, all of the different lessons, the lesson titles and topics and things like that. If you want to start studying with this pathway, you can click the Study Now button and it will appear in your dashboard so that it appears the next time you log in, and you can click the Go to Lesson button on it. So this is a really quick introduction to all of the different things that you can do on the dashboard. It's a great way to see your progress, to take a look at how many flashcards you've reviewed, how much time you're putting into your studies, how many lessons you've completed. So if it ever feels like you're not making progress or you're not sure if you're actually moving forward, the dashboard is a really great way to make sure that you are actually making progress. And it's also really helpful in terms of being able to easily see what the next thing is that you need to do for your studies. So, if you want to learn the language and get access to these learning tools and our learning system, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description to get your free lifetime account. Hi everybody, welcome back to Ask Alicia, the weekly series where you ask me questions and I answer them. Maybe. Let's get to your first question this week. First question this week comes from Oleg. Hi Oleg. Oleg says, is it correct to say I'm using or I'm doing to explain my everyday tasks to someone, like my work colleagues? For example, when I want to show someone something in a program like Excel, should I say, I'm using this formula in this cell? Or should I say, I use this formula in this cell? Thanks. Nice question. Yeah, this is a really important but small detail. So to break this down, of course, we use I use and other present tense patterns when we talk about something regular, and we use the I'm using or I'm doing pattern, that progressive pattern, when we talk about something that is temporary, right? So this is kind of the basic grammar difference. But how about in your example, like when you're showing something to someone, you're explaining something, like how to use that thing, what you are doing. How do you do that? How do you decide between the two? Kind of the rule here is that when you have something that you always put in like one place or something that you always do, use that present tense form there. So in your example, like, okay, for me, always, like my decision is always to use this formula in this cell. So when you explain that to your colleague, you say, okay, I use this formula in this cell, or I do this process with this software. So when you're talking about something that is kind of always the same, maybe in your team or in your workplace, you always do this. You can use that present tense verb form there. So I use this, I do this, I choose this, I save this, and so on. However, if you're in a situation like where you and your teammates or you and your colleagues are trying to like figure out a new process, you're trying to decide on maybe some way to do something, and you're like sharing your ideas, yeah? Like let's say you're maybe creating a new Excel spreadsheet for your team to use, and together you're trying to decide the best way to create the sheet. You might say, when you're explaining it, okay, I'm using this formula in this cell. So that sounds like it's temporary, right? That sounds like it's more temporary, which sounds like there's a chance, there's room for the other person to provide feedback. Like you might say, I'm using this formula in this cell. Does that sound right to you? Or I'm doing this in this software. What do you think? That sounds like there's an opportunity for them to give you some feedback or to talk about the way you do it or to make a change in some way. So of course, not everyone is going to follow this grammar pattern exactly, but generally, like when we're brainstorming, when we're coming up with these new ideas, you might hear people using that progressive form more when they're talking about something that like they're trying to do together with their colleagues, or they're trying to show someone how to do something. Of course, separate from this situation, if you're just talking about something happening right now, like now I'm typing my name, or now I'm inputting my password. Like if you're talking about the specific steps as you do them, then yes, of course, use the progressive form to do that. But if you want kind of like this nuance of like a little bit of, this is what I'm doing now in this moment, what do you think? You can use that progressive form to kind of show that you're doing something together with another person in that moment. And again, if you want to express something that you always do, you can stick to that simple present tense form as well. So I hope that this helps answer your question. This is a really interesting point, very small thing, but I think it really adds something to the conversation when you're talking with people that you're close to, like your work colleagues or maybe even your classmates. So thanks very much for this question.
Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Laszlo. Hi, Laszlo. Laszlo says, hi, Alicia. How do I explain the place something was made or the materials? Should I use on, by, for, etc.? For example, should I say, this product is made by aluminum or made from aluminum? What's the difference? And what are some common ways to talk about this? Great question, yeah. So this is one of those situations where the prepositions can get really confusing. That's like by, for, in, of, these little tiny words that are so difficult to remember, right? So let's talk about some common patterns. Let's start with the ones you introduced. When you want to talk about the material something is made from, we usually use from or of to do that. So for example, this material is made of aluminum, or this product is made of aluminum. We can also use from in exactly the same way. This is made from aluminum. So we can do this to talk about the material of something. We can also use a different pattern that doesn't use a preposition. You might just say, this aluminum product, blah, 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 or this wool sweater, blah, blah, blah. So you can do this with any kind of material and product, so like aluminum pole or wool sweater or glass jar, whatever. You don't need to always use that this jar is made of blah, 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 or this sweater is made from blah, blah, blah pattern. You can actually make it a lot more efficient if you just put material and then product after it. So that's the first part of your question. So to go to the other part of your question, what are some other common expressions that we use to talk about materials and what things are made of? We also have some expressions about the origin of the material. So that means, where did that material come from? So maybe if you have like wool, or maybe if you're talking about wine, where did the grapes come from? And so on. How do we express that? We can use a couple of different patterns. So I talked about before using that this sweater is made of wool, right? When we do this, we can say, this sweater is made of wool from region. You might also hear people use with in this pattern. This sweater is made with wool from region. So this sweater is made with wool from Scotland. When you use this pattern, you might notice that with is more common than of here. So by that I mean, this sweater is made of wool from Scotland is probably less common than this sweater is made with wool from Scotland. This sounds a little bit more natural, this with pattern. So basically, when you want to talk about the region something came from, you can just say from region, so from country or from city and so on. The last thing that I want to talk about is one that's a little bit confusing, which talks about how the materials are made. If you want to talk about someone using their hands to create something, you use the expression by hand. So for example, this sweater was made by hand from wool, or this sweater was made by hand with wool from Scotland. Or this aluminum jewelry was made by hand. So when you talk about something that people use their hands physically to create, use the expression by hand to describe that. So I hope that this helps you understand how we can express the materials that we use in things, where they come from, and how people make them. So I hope that gave you some good ideas for what to do next time. Thanks very much for sending this question along. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Tanya. Hi, Tanya. Tanya says, what's a polite way to ask about someone's money to pay for something? For example, when someone asks for a recommendation for something, how do I ask them about the money they want to spend? Should I say, how much can you pay? Or how much money do you have? Thank you. Yeah, good question. It's really important to be polite when you ask this. So in this situation, I think if someone comes to you, I think what your question is, if someone comes to you and says, hey, can you recommend a restaurant, or can you recommend, this software product or this maybe technology product for me? And you want to ask them about how much money they can pay, right? How do you politely do that? So the ones you suggested here are how much can you pay, or how much money do you have? So first, definitely don't say how much money do you have, like unless you're very, very close to the person. If you say how much money do you have, it sounds like overall in your life, like how much money is in your bank account. It's too big of a question. How much can you pay sounds a little dark. It sounds like it's a kind of a shady deal, like how much can you pay? Like I want to know how much money you have so that I can, get a deal on this somehow. So I don't recommend how much can you pay, but you might hear this in movies, like action movies and like suspense movies and so on. Instead, a much better question to ask is, what's your budget? What's your budget? Or how much are you thinking about for your budget? Or about how much do you want to pay? So those are a little bit more polite ways to ask about someone's financial situation, yeah? I personally would say, what's your budget? Because it just sounds very quick, very easy, not scary, not threatening. It's just a very straightforward, friendly way to ask about someone else's finances. So if they say, for example, like, hey, can you recommend like a video editing software for me? It's like, yeah, sure, what's your budget? So that sounds quick and efficient and like you're paying attention and you're thinking of them as well. So I would recommend, what's your budget? Or you might also hear people say something like, oh, what kind of budget did you have in mind? Or you might also hear sales staff say, how much are you looking to spend? How much are you looking to spend means about how much money do you want to spend on this thing? So you might hear that pattern as well, usually face-to-face with salespeople. But again, I would recommend, what's your budget? That's going to sound like the best way to respond to this question. So thanks very much for this interesting question. I hope that that answers it. All right, that is everything that I have for this week. Thank you, as always, for sending your great questions. Remember, you can send them to me at englishclass101.com/ask-Alicia. That is very long, so please find a link for this in the YouTube description. Please send the questions there. Do not send them to somewhere else on the internet because I will probably not see it. So please, please, I'm always excited to see your questions on that page, so send them to me whenever you think of them. Of course, if you like this lesson, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Also, check us out at englishclass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this week's episode of Ask Alicia, and I will see you again next time. Bye!
Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Excuse me, young man. Could you help me?
What seems to be the problem?
I can't find my luggage.
What's your flight number, ma'am?
3995.
According to what's on the screen, your luggage will come out on conveyor belt number 4, which is in the other room. You'll have to go there to get your luggage.
Oh, thank you. This is my first time flying to Atlanta, and I'm a bit lost.
Now you'll hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
Ma'am.
Polite way to address a woman.
Ma'am. Ma'am. Luggage.
Suitcases and bags for traveling.
Luggage. Luggage. Flight.
Act of flying.
Flight. Flight. Number.
Symbol representing a quantity.
Number. Number. Screen.
A fixed or movable, upright partition used to divide a room.
Screen. Screen. Conveyor.
Thing that transports or communicates something.
Conveyor. Conveyor. Belt.
Strip of material used for transferring motion from one wheel to another.
Belt. Belt. Lost.
Unable to find one's way.
Lost. Lost.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Excuse me, young man. Could you help me?
What seems to be the problem?
I can't find my luggage.
What's your flight number, ma'am?
3995.
According to what's on the screen, your luggage will come out on conveyor belt number 4, which is in the other room. You'll have to go there to get your luggage.
Oh, thank you. This is my first time flying to Atlanta, and I'm a bit lost.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson.
Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about some common English acronyms and initialisms. Let's get started. Okay, first I want to begin by explaining what acronyms and initialisms are. Acronyms are short versions of phrases or titles or expressions and so on. Acronyms are created using the first letter of each word in the expression, and then we pronounce acronyms as a word. So acronyms are these words, for example, over here, but you may also hear people using acronym to refer to initialisms too, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. So first, let's take a look at this group of vocabulary words that are pronounced as words. Okay, so let's take a look at the first word here, YOLO, Y-O-L-O. So, as I said, we create acronyms using the first letter of each word in the expression. In this case, Y-O-L-O, this creates YOLO. So YOLO means you only live once. You only live once. So we use this expression usually before we do something really exciting or maybe something that makes us feel a little bit nervous. People like to use it maybe before they do something dangerous or something risky. They might shout YOLO and then maybe jump into a river or something like that. So it's an expression that usually is kind of cheerful and feels kind of exciting and like someone wants to do something because they have a chance right now. So this is how we might use YOLO. Okay, the next acronym here is GOAT. GOAT. GOAT stands for greatest of all time. Greatest of all time. So you might hear people talking about their favorite celebrity or maybe their favorite artist, their favorite performer with the expression GOAT. Like for example, Beyonce is the GOAT or something like that. So someone or some group of people that a person feels are the best at something of all time, they might be using the word GOAT. People might use the word GOAT to express that they feel that that person is amazing or that group of people is amazing. So it does not refer to the animal. It refers to this expression. So-and-so is the greatest of all time. Okay, great. Let's go to the next one. The next one is FOMO. FOMO. FOMO means fear of missing out. Fear of missing out. So unlike these two that I talked about earlier, which might be used in short phrases or just as kind of an excited shout with YOLO, FOMO is typically used in sentences. For example, I stayed home tonight, but I have such bad FOMO. I'm checking everyone's updates on Instagram. FOMO refers to the fear of missing out on social activities or some kind of maybe interpersonal connection or maybe some big event. Fear of missing out. So we want to participate in something, but we're not participating in it. So we feel this fear. This is called FOMO now. We call this fear of missing out. Okay. Next is a very common one in banking, PIN, PIN. PIN means personal identification number, personal identification number. So when you go to an ATM or another banking establishment, or maybe there are some other situations like using a credit card, for example, you may be asked to enter your PIN, which means your personal identification number, your PIN. So typically this is only used in ATMs or on other kind of personal identification request forms or request boxes, like at a credit card machine and so on. Okay. Next, let's go to the last two here. These both come from kind of military backgrounds. The first one is AWOL. AWOL, A-W-O-L. AWOL means absent without leave. So this without, we've kind of taken the W and the O here together, without. Absent without leave. This means someone is not doing their job or is not in the place they're supposed to be, but they did not take time off. So leave means taking time off or time off from your job or your position. Absent without leave means someone is missing. So he's gone AWOL is where you might hear this, or she's gone AWOL, or perhaps just he's AWOL or she's AWOL. This expresses that someone is unexpectedly not in their position, or someone is unexpectedly not at their job or not doing the thing that they're supposed to do. So again, using AWOL has kind of a little bit of a military feel or an official feel. You might also hear the initialism used, MIA. He's MIA. MIA means missing in action. Missing in action. That means someone went to do something, like for example, a military mission, and in the process, they went missing. So we cannot find that person after they took their actions to go on their mission. So these are kind of similar expressions, but they are used in everyday conversation from time to time to refer to someone who is not at their position or not at their post. Okay, lastly is SWAT. SWAT, S-W-A-T. SWAT, this means Special Weapons and Tactics. Special Weapons and Tactics. So this is typically used in military and police situations. However, this is also sometimes used in business or perhaps even in academic situations, maybe, when you need to use special effort to achieve a goal. So usually this is talked about in terms of a team, a SWAT team, like a Special Weapons and Tactics team. When you call in or you request a SWAT team, it's because you find yourself in a situation where you need some kind of special effort. So you might hear maybe businesses or groups of people say like, let's call in the SWAT team, which means let's call in a group of people to give us some extra effort to get over this problem or to help us achieve this goal. So it doesn't always mean using weapons or maybe special military tactics, but it does sometimes refer to using extra effort, like asking extra people for help for something, or maybe getting some new kind of equipment. Some kind of extra effort is required to achieve a goal or to overcome a problem. So you may hear SWAT used to talk about that. So these are some examples of acronyms. As I said, we use a word pronunciation for these. So we don't say Y-O-L-O here or G-O-A-T. We say YOLO or GOAT or FOMO, these kinds of things. So let's compare this to initialisms. Initialisms. So as I said before, acronyms and initialisms are sometimes used to mean the same thing. So we can say that these acronyms here, these could also be considered acronyms as well. But some people are very, 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 very strict about this and say acronyms are only words that we pronounce as a word, and initialisms are only these abbreviations we pronounce with letters. So don't be too worried about this, but please just know that some people have a very, very strict separation of these two groups. So initialism, I've already hinted at it. An initialism is a shortened version of a phrase, title, expression, and so on. It is created using the first letter of each word in the expression. It is read as letters. This is the key difference from this first group of acronyms here. We read these as words, FOMO, PIN, AWOL, and so on. These, however, are read as individual letters. So I've selected a big group of some very common ones. Let's take a look. First is ASAP. ASAP. This means as soon as possible. As soon as possible. This is a very common initialism. It is used in the business world. It is used in casual messages. It is used everywhere. ASAP. As soon as possible. So please do this quickly, or please take care of this quickly, immediately, as soon as you can. The next one is DIY. DIY. Do it yourself. Do it yourself. It's important to know do it yourself, or DIY, is usually used to talk about hobbies or projects, something like that. We don't usually use DIY to make a request or to reply to someone. Like, for example, if someone says, "Can you help me with this report?" and you say in response, DIY, that doesn't make any sense. We don't use do it yourself as a response to someone. Instead, we talk about our personal projects usually as DIY projects. For example, I created a birdhouse. It was a great DIY project. So these are kind of personal, maybe hobby or other activity related things, and we use DIY to express that it's something we created on our own, meaning without a professional. Okay. Next, very common online is FAQ. FAQ. FAQ means frequently asked questions. Frequently asked questions. So you will probably find this on the homepage of a number of major websites. So common questions that companies receive from customers typically are on an FAQ page, a frequently asked questions page. So it's typically found on websites. It might also be found in pamphlets of organizations, but FAQ is another good one to know. Okay, next is AKA. AKA means also known as, also known as. So when someone or something has more than one name, you might see AKA used. For example, Superman, AKA Clark Kent. So Superman and Clark Kent are the same person, but this one person has more than one name, right? So we use AKA to express that. Superman, also known as Clark Kent. So when we want to talk about someone's other name or another way that you might know that person, you can use AKA to do that in a short way. Okay? Next is FYI. FYI, for your information. This one is typically used at the beginning of a sentence. You can use this in emails. This is very common in emails and in text messages. FYI, the meeting time was changed to 2 o'clock. Or FYI, we're out of bread. Can you pick some up? So this sounds like you're giving someone else a quick piece of information. FYI. Next is ETA. ETA. ETA means estimated time of arrival. Estimated time of arrival. This is typically used when you are talking to someone about your schedule. So someone might send you this with a question mark. ETA, meaning what's your estimated time of arrival, or when do you think you're going to arrive? ETA. And you might respond with just a time, or maybe you might say in 10 minutes, for example. Or you might write to someone and say ETA 1 hour. So ETA is a very common way to estimate the time at which something will happen or something will arrive. Okay, next. This is very, very, very common on the internet. It is TL semicolon DR. TLDR. This means too long, didn't read. Too long, didn't read. This one is used very commonly at the end of a very, very long post. So on something like a community forum or a message board, users might write a really long message. They might write something about their personal life or share an interesting story or something like that. And at the end, they may include this, TLDR. So this means for those of you for whom my story was too long and you didn't read it, here's a short summary. So you might find this, TLDR, at the end, the very, very end of a very long post on the internet. TLDR and a short summary, or 1 or 2 point summary. So TLDR means too long, didn't read. So this can be very, very helpful for your readers if you want to provide a short summary of something at the bottom of a long post. Okay, let's finish up with some very quick initialisms. BRB means be right back. BRB, be right back. We usually use this when we are typing to friends on like an instant messenger or perhaps on a work messenger, something like that. It means I need to go for a moment and I will come back very quickly. Be right back. BRB. The next two are a pair, BF and GF, boyfriend and girlfriend. We use these in place of the word boyfriend or girlfriend in our text messages and so on. So for example, having coffee with my BF right now, you could say having coffee with my boyfriend in the same way. Or I'm meeting my GF for dinner tonight. So I'm meeting my girlfriend for dinner tonight. These two are very, very commonly used, so BF and GF are very, 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 very commonly used in text. Okay, next is SO. SO. SO means significant other, significant other. So this is typically used among married couples, but it doesn't have a gender attached to it. So this could refer to someone's wife, to someone's husband, maybe to someone's partner if they are not married yet, but they still want to express that the other person is significant. Lots of people use SO, typically on online message boards, community forums, and so on. So for example, like my SO said to me, which means my significant other said to me. So people might use SO in place of maybe husband or wife or maybe boyfriend or girlfriend. It's just a personal preference. So SO means significant other. Okay. Next is BTW. BTW means by the way, by the way. So this is common in text messages in particular. You might see it in more casual emails in business settings, but if you want to be formal, I recommend not using this in your business emails. BTW means by the way. So for example, BTW, you might see this in a text, BTW, did you ever check that file that I sent you? So by the way, did you ever check that file I sent you? So this is a really good way to check in with someone. Finally, JK. JK means just kidding, just kidding. So it means I was just joking. That was just a joke, JK. So this is something you can use to follow up a text. Maybe you send a joke text to your friend and then you write, JK, just kidding. So use this one very carefully. Joke with your friends in text carefully. If it's not clear you're kidding, you might use JK to express that. So these are some very common initialisms. There are a lot more. There are a lot of initialisms, but I've chosen just a few here that are very commonly used. Again, an initialism is a word that is read as its letters. We read this as its letters. We don't read it as ASAP or DUI, something like that. We don't read it in this way. Again, you might hear some people saying that acronyms and initialisms overlap, they're the same. Some people are very strict about the differences between the two, but at least I hope this video helps you understand that there are some words that are pronounced as words and some that are pronounced with their letters. So I hope that you found something interesting in this video. Of course, if you know another acronym or another initialism, you can leave it in the comments for us to check out. If you like this lesson, please, please, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Also, check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon. Bye! Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about 3 uses of get. I made a previous video about the word get that covered 3 different uses of this verb, so you can take a look at that video for some other ways that you can use this word. Let's get started with this lesson, with the next group of meanings. Okay, the first use of get that I want to talk about in this lesson is arrive. So we can use the word get to mean arrive. Arrive tends to sound a little bit formal or a little bit more polite. So we use get a lot in everyday conversation. So some key points about this use. We use with to before the location. So get to plus the location. However, there is an exception. There's one situation where we don't follow this rule. We do not use this with get home. So that means we don't say get to home. We always say get home. Okay? So we use this to mean arrive. And this sounds much more natural in everyday conversation than arrive. So try to use this get pattern when you're talking about reaching your destination. Let's look at some examples. Okay, first is, I'm going to get to the office at about 5 p.m. I'm going to get to the office at around 5 p.m. So this get to means arrive. So I'm going to arrive at the office at about 5 p.m. So we can replace get to with arrive at, and it stays the same. The meaning stays the same. So again, the difference here is just that get to sounds much, much more casual, much more common in everyday conversation. It's 100% correct to say I'm going to arrive at the office at about 5 p.m., but it just sounds a little more polite. So I recommend this pattern for everyday use. Okay, let's look at the next example. We didn't get home until midnight. We didn't get home until midnight. So here we're using this get home pattern. I talked about we use this get home as an exception. So no to here. Not we didn't get to home until midnight, but we didn't get home until midnight. So we have this negative sentence pattern. That means it doesn't mean that we didn't get home at all. It means we were not able to reach home, or we did not arrive at our home until this point in time, until midnight. So we didn't get home until midnight. Again, we could use the verb arrive in this sentence. We didn't arrive at home until midnight. So we can use that, yes, but this sounds much more natural for everyday conversation. Okay, on to our next example. I'm going to get there in a few minutes. I'm going to get there in a few minutes. Okay, let's take a look at this sentence. There's one part in this sentence I want to focus on. It's this there. So I'm going to get there in a few minutes. So you might notice that I've used there here and no to, right? So remember, when we use the word there, we're not talking about a specific location, like the office or some country, certain country or certain city or something like that. There is kind of a general word we understand from the context, right? So when we talk about traveling to a place and we use the word there, we don't use the preposition to. For example, a common mistake that I see among learners is I have been to there. This is incorrect. We say I have been there. The same rule applies here with get. So I'm going to get there in a few minutes is correct. We cannot say I'm going to get to there. We use to before the specific destination. There is a word that we use in our context. We use it and we understand the meaning from the context. It doesn't refer to a specific place. So we don't use the preposition to in this case either. So I'm going to get there in a few minutes. Again, we could use arrive in this sentence too. I'm going to arrive in a few minutes is also okay. So you can choose which one you prefer. I would definitely recommend get there. I'm going to get there in a few minutes. Okay, last one for this meaning. Past tense here. He got to his hotel in the evening. He got to his hotel in the evening. So this means he arrived at his hotel in the evening. So he got to his hotel in the evening. In this case, we have our preposition to, and we have his hotel. This is our specific location in this case. So past tense, he got to his hotel in the evening. I mentioned earlier using arrive here. So we could use arrive. He arrived at his hotel. Note the preposition is different. He arrived at his hotel or he got to his hotel. So make sure you don't mix up those prepositions. Okay? So this is the first use of get for this lesson. We can use get to mean arrive. Okay, let's take a look at the second use for this lesson. The second use is understand. So we use get a lot to mean to understand or to comprehend something. Okay? So first point, this is much more casual than understand. When we use get to mean understand. It's much more casual. It's much more common in everyday communication. So this is the one that's going to make you sound much more natural. If you're talking to someone about something new you're learning, instead of saying, I understand, use one of these expressions, like I get something, okay? So let's take a look at some common expressions that use this form of get. The first one is a negative one. Very, very good to know this sentence. It is very useful. It is, I don't get it. I don't get it. This means I don't understand it. I don't understand it. So it is the situation or the topic at the moment. I don't get it. So this is a very quick, very easy way to say I don't understand, and it sounds more casual. Using I don't understand tends to sound a little bit too formal when you're talking with your friends, but this one sounds very, very natural. So when you're confused about something or everyone is laughing and you don't know why, you can say, I don't get it. I don't get it. So that means I don't understand. So please explain something to me. This is a great sentence to know. Okay, the next one. Do you get what I mean? Do you get what I mean? So this is something, a question someone can use to clarify, to check the other person's understanding. So here, get, again, means understand. Do you understand what I mean? Do you understand what I am trying to say? So you're checking the other person's understanding. Of course, using understand here again is okay to use, but this sounds much more friendly. So if, for example, you're teaching your coworker how to do something new and you want to check and make sure they're okay, you can say, do you get what I mean? Or do you get it as well? You can use this part here, just do you get it, to check their understanding. So this is another good one to use. This do you get what I mean? So this what I mean refers to my intentions. Do you understand the thing I'm trying to say? Do you understand the point I'm trying to make? Do you get what I mean? That's what it sounds like at native speed. Do you get what I mean? So it sounds very, very fast. Do you get what I mean becomes, do you get what I mean? Okay, let's go to our next one. The next one, another good one when you're learning how to do something or teaching someone how to do something. Don't worry if you don't get it right away. Don't worry if you don't get it right away. So I could use this in a lesson, for example. Don't worry if you don't get it right away. So this means if you don't understand the information immediately, right away, right now, that's okay. So don't worry. This is like saying it's okay to take some time to practice, right? It's okay to learn the information, to study the information a few times and then be able to use it. So don't worry if you don't understand right away is what this means. But we use this get it. It's much more efficient and it sounds much more friendly. So don't worry if you don't get it right away. So this is a very, very common expression that you can use when you're teaching someone else how to do something. Okay, let's look at another example. The next one is super, super common. I get it. I get it. You can use this when you learn something new, when you understand a joke, when you just kind of realize something, finally, after struggling for some time. And a lot of the time, people will make this I sound very long, like, I get it. I get it. So you'll use this one, I get it. Interestingly, in this kind of present tense, yeah, I get it means I understand. You might hear people say, yeah, I got it, to confirm something after something has been taught. So for example, if someone teaches you how to do something and they say, are you okay? Do you understand? You might say, yeah, I got it, which means I'm okay, I have it, it's okay for me. So you might hear this used in past tense as well, but we often, in that moment when we understand, use this in present tense or the infinitive verb form here. I get it. Oh, I get it now means I understand now. So this is a really, really good one to use. It's a quick, short phrase that expresses you understand. So, oh, I get it. You can use it with a joke too. I get it. So that means I understood your joke, right? Okay, let's look at the last one. I just used this expression. He didn't get the joke. He didn't get the joke. This means he didn't understand the joke. So we use this verb a lot when we're talking about jokes and humor. So when someone understands a joke, we say, he got the joke. He understood the joke. When someone doesn't understand the joke, we use an expression like this. He didn't get the joke. Or in my case, I could say, I didn't get the joke. So I didn't understand the joke, or he didn't understand the joke. We use this verb a lot when we're talking about humor and jokes and these kinds of funny things. So if you want to express that someone didn't understand the joke, you can use this. Oh, he didn't get the joke, did he? So you can use this one to talk about these humorous situations. Okay? So this is how we use the verb get to mean understand. Again, this I don't get it and I get it are super, super helpful and very, very common expressions that you can use to express your understanding, or of course, when you don't understand something. Okay, great. So let's talk now about the last meaning for this lesson. Number 3 is have an opportunity. So we use the verb get to refer to our opportunities, our life and professional opportunities. So we use this one to express a positive or an exciting experience. So when we use get in this way, we're talking about something we're really excited about, or something good, or something that maybe is a good chance for us. So we're usually communicating something happy or something positive when we use this get. Second, we use this with to plus the infinitive form of the verb. So to plus the base form of the verb. So we'll see some examples here. Okay, so let's take a look at our first example. Past tense. I got to ride in a helicopter last weekend. I got to ride in a helicopter last weekend. So this got right here, past tense get, I got to, in this case, ride is my infinitive verb. So to ride, I have the infinitive form following get, in this case, got. So I got to ride in a helicopter last weekend. This use of get expresses an exciting opportunity, some kind of positive or fun experience. I got to ride in a helicopter last weekend. So you might think, well, what's the difference between I rode in a helicopter last weekend and I got to ride in a helicopter last weekend? When we include this got to, I got to ride in a helicopter last weekend, it sounds like we got the privilege or we got the exciting opportunity to ride in a helicopter this weekend, or last weekend, sorry. So when you say I rode in a helicopter last weekend, it sounds like a basic report. Maybe your voice is really excited and you say, I rode in a helicopter last weekend. That's fine. If you really want to communicate that exciting opportunity feeling, you can use the verb get. So in this case, I got to ride in a helicopter last weekend. This shows that you're excited about what happens. Okay, let's look at another example. We get to go on a free vacation. We get to go on a free vacation. So in this case, you've received a free vacation. That's super exciting, right? So if you want to express this to your friend, you can say, we get to go. So here's my infinitive. We get to go on a free vacation. So again, this use of get is like saying we get the opportunity. We get the exciting opportunity to go on a free vacation. So this communicates that excited feeling, that feeling of a good opportunity somehow. We get to go on a free vacation. Okay, let's look at one more example, a question in this case. Did you get to talk to any celebrities at the VIP party? Did you get to talk to any celebrities at the VIP party? So celebrity means a famous person. Did you get to talk to? So get to, talk to, the prepositions, there are two tos in this sentence, that's okay. Did you get to talk to any celebrities at the VIP party? So again, this is asking a question about someone's potential exciting opportunity. So it's like saying, did you get the chance or did you get the opportunity to do this exciting thing? Did you meet any famous people? Did you talk to any famous people? So did you get to? Again, including this get to makes it sound more like that's kind of an exciting opportunity, an exciting chance in some way. So you could say, did you talk to any celebrities at the VIP party? That's 100% correct. But if you include did you get to talk to anybody, it sounds like you had some kind of cool chance to do something. So this is a very small point, yes, but it communicates that feeling of excitement. So when you're reading and when you're hearing about people's good news, listen for this get or got in past tense, because that shows a little bit extra, right? It shows that they're excited or they feel really, really positive about that experience. Okay, great. So those are 3 different uses of the verb get. So we talked about how to use it to mean arrive along with the preposition to before a specific location. We talked about using get to mean understand, and we also talked about using get to express an exciting opportunity. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, there are of course many other uses of the verb get, and I have another video all about this verb, about 3 more uses of this video. So if you want to get some more practice with some different uses, please make sure to have a look at that too. If you like this lesson, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And if you have any questions, comments, or if you want to practice making some example sentences with this information, please feel free to do so in the comment section of this video. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon. Bye!
Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about 10 ways to use the word from. Let's get started. Okay, the first use I want to talk about for this lesson is using from to express the origin of something. So when I say origin for this lesson, I mean the place where something came from, or the material, so the thing that something is made out of. We can use from to express both of these. Let's look at some examples of this. First, he's from Canada. In this sentence, from tells us the person's origin. In this case, their home country or where they were born. He's from Canada, so we use this use when we introduce ourselves. Second, this car is from a company in Italy. This car is from a company in Italy refers to the place, in this case, a company in Italy, the car originated. So where did that thing come from originally, in the beginning? In this case, we're talking about a company in Italy. Third, her sweater is made from silk and wool. This use of from tells us the origin of the materials. So we're talking about, in this case, what something is made of. There's a note here, the star refers to another preposition you might hear used in this case. So in this sentence, I have her sweater is made from silk and wool. You may also hear of used in this position. Her sweater is made of silk and wool. We use of and from to talk about the material origin of something, but we do not use of in these cases, so please keep this in mind. Okay, let's move on to the second use of from. Second is to use it to describe the start point in terms of a location. So the start point, that is a place. Let's look at these examples. The train from London has arrived. The train from London has arrived means London was the start point of the train. So when you want to describe the starting point of somewhere, the location where something started, you can use from before it. Let's look at the second example. Our vacation plan goes from Italy to France. So in this case, we have our start point, Italy, and we have the end point, France. We know this because we have the preposition to before the destination. You'll see this pattern, this from to pattern, in many of the uses in today's lesson. So it's a good reminder to keep in your mind that we often use from and to together. So in this case, we're talking about the start point, Italy, here with from. One more example of this use. The bus leaves from Central Station. The bus leaves from Central Station. So again, we're talking about the start point of something. We use from to indicate that. Let's compare this now to use number 3, which is to refer to the start point in terms of time. So we use this when we're talking about schedules a lot. For example, first, the meeting is from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. So from shows the start point in terms of time. The meeting starts at 10 a.m. is another way to say this. So the meeting is from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We mark the start point with from. The same is in the second example sentence here. Our store is open from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Again, we mark the start point in terms of time here. We can also use this use of from with things that are not specific times, but rather just general periods of the day. In this example, we have, we worked from morning to night on the project. So this shows that the activity start point was morning. So we worked from morning, early in the day, to night. So again, we're showing the time period that an action happened. The start of that time is shown with from. Okay, let's move on to use number 4. We use this to describe the person who sent something or gave something. So we're talking again about the origin of something. That's another way to think about it, but in terms of a person who provided something. Let's look at these examples. First, I got this necklace from my mom. I got this necklace from my mom. So this means this necklace, the origin point of this necklace was my mom. So we use from to show the gift giver. I got this from my mom. The second example sentence, we received a message from the client. We received a message from the client. Again, from comes before the origin. So the person in this case, or the client in this case, where that thing started. So where did it come from? From the client. Lastly, a package from my friend arrived today. A package from my friend arrived today. So we're showing the sender, my friend, with from. A package from my friend arrived today. So we can use this when we're talking about giving gifts, when we're talking about sharing information, and so on. Okay, let's go to the middle column for this lesson. Number 5. Number 5 is using from for the distance between 2 points. So this means from A to B. We use this when we're talking about directions. So let's take a look at the example sentences here. It's 10 miles from my house to the supermarket. It's 10 miles from my house to the supermarket. So, like we practiced earlier here with a start point, the location start point, we use from to talk about the place we start, and then we talk about the destination here. But we use this with some kind of measurement. In this case, it's 10 miles from my house to the supermarket. So when you want to talk about distance, you can use this pattern. Again, you'll notice we're using this from to pattern. Start point, destination point with from and to. Let's look at the next example. It's a 3-minute walk from the office to the cafe. It's a 3-minute walk from the office to the cafe. Again, we have some measurement here. In this case, a 3-minute walk. We're not talking about miles or meters or kilometers. In this case, we're using time to measure the distance. So again, we have from to mark the start point from the office and the destination to the cafe. So we can use this to express distance in this way with time as well. Last example then. It's about a 1-hour drive from our house to the beach. It's about a 1-hour drive from our house to the beach. So again, we're using time to measure distance, and in this case, we're talking about driving a car somewhere. A 1-hour drive from start point, our house, to destination, the beach. So we can use from to mark the start point in terms of our location for miles, kilometers, meters, whatever, and for time too. Okay, next one, number 6. We can use from to refer to someone's perspective or someone's point of view, the way another person sees a situation. Let's look at these examples. The view from where I'm standing is beautiful. The view from where I'm standing is beautiful. So this is important because this from tells us that it's specifically from the speaker's point of view. So maybe from a different location, the view is okay, or it's not so beautiful, or maybe we can't see anything, but the speaker wants to make sure the other person understands right here, from where I'm standing, the view is beautiful. We can use this from to do that. The view from where I'm standing is beautiful, or the view from my position is beautiful. So when you want to emphasize that you need to be in this place right here, you can use this kind of pattern. Okay, next one, in like a business or a negotiation situation. From our point of view, this isn't a smart deal. From our point of view, this isn't a smart deal. This means, if you think about it, with our perspective in your mind, or maybe with our needs and our situation in mind, this isn't a smart deal. So in this case, they are declining or they're refusing some kind of negotiation or some kind of deal. From our point of view, so we use this from. You don't use the preposition by here, for example. We always use from in these situations. From our point of view or from my point of view refers to your own perspective. Okay, last example sentence. Have you thought about your argument from the other person's perspective? Have you thought about your argument from the other person's perspective? So in this case, maybe two people had an argument, had a fight, and one person is discussing it with their friend. The friend might say, have you thought about it from the other person's perspective? Meaning, did you think about the situation from their point of view or in their mind? So from the other person's perspective, we're using from to show that you should think about that thing with their eyes. So this is another way that you can kind of mediate, or you can kind of help someone through a difficult situation or a difficult discussion. So you might hear phrases like these, from their point of view, from the other person's perspective, and so on. Okay, let's move on to the next use of from. Next is range. So we can use from to describe a range. Earlier, we talked about using from to talk about distance in terms of like the physical distance and in terms of time. We can also use from to talk about a range of things too. So let's look at some examples of this. First, this store sells everything from electronics to snacks. So here we have a range of products in a store, from electronics to snacks. So this might sound kind of strange at first, but the idea here, by including these two things that don't seem very related, we're trying to show that the store has many different products. So electronics and snacks are maybe not so closely related, but we want to emphasize the store has many, many things. We can do this with this same from to pattern. In this case, of course, it's not a start point and a destination, but we're kind of using these two things to show how many products there are. By choosing some kind of strange, unconnected things, we're showing the range of possible goods you can buy at this store. Let's look at another example of this. She can talk about topics from science to politics. Okay, she can talk about topics from science to politics. Just as we saw in the first example sentence, we have this from to pattern used here. And again, these two topics in this case are not necessarily related, and that's okay. Rather, we're using this from to pattern to show, to emphasize, in this case, this person can talk about many different things. We want to show this person has a range of conversation topics. So we pick science on one side and politics on the other. Of course, you could change this. You could say, she can talk about topics from pop culture to art, or whatever you think is interesting. The key here is we use range, or we use from in this way to show the range of someone's capabilities or of a store's products and so on. Let's look at one more example. Opinions and values vary from person to person. Opinions and values vary from person to person. Let's break this one down because I wanted to include this for a reason. This includes, or this has the expression from person to person in it. So up until now, we've seen from to, and the two things are different, right? But this expression uses person in both positions, yeah? This expression basically means from person to person, or each different person has different ideas or different values. In this sentence, its opinions and values vary. So to vary means to differ. It's a way of saying to differ. So this sentence is saying each person has their own opinions and their own values. We use from person to mean like from this person to this other person to this other person. You can kind of think of it in that way. This expression is very commonly used to talk about differences of opinions and differences in interests between many different people. So this uses from in this way to describe a range or to express a different range of things. We've seen it in terms of store goods, in terms of topics, and in terms of opinions and values in people. Okay, let's move on to number 8, the 8th use of from. Number 8 is the state before a change. So when we're talking about some kind of transformation or some change from one thing to another, we'll use from a lot of the time. So first example, she transferred from marketing to sales. She transferred from marketing to sales. Again, we see this very common from to pattern. So from marketing marks the place she started. So the state before a change, or maybe the place before a change in this case. She started in marketing, or the marketing department in this case. She transferred, so changed in this case, from marketing to sales. So again, we kind of have this start point, destination feeling here, but we're using it in this case to talk about a transformation or a change. Let's look at the next example. 2. Convert this document from Excel to PDF. Convert this document from Excel to PDF. So again, we have this from to pattern from Excel. So we have this one software type, right? To PDF. This is the desired one. So this is kind of the destination or the desired outcome or the desired result. So in this case, our verb is convert. This is another way to say change. So change this document from Excel format to PDF format. So again, we have this kind of start Excel, destination PDF in this case. Okay, one more example of this. He translated the text from French to English. He translated the text from French to English. So in this sentence, again, we have from our original, French, and our destination or our outcome, English. Our verb is translated. So you can think of this as transforming the language in this case. So we use from and to talk about this transformation, this process of transformation. You might also notice that the verbs used in these kind of refer to a change in some way, yeah? So transfer or convert or translate. These verbs are relating to some kind of change happening. So if you're not sure for whatever reason about the from you're looking at, maybe you can try taking a look at the verb in the sentence, and that might give you a good hint. Okay, let's move on to number 9. Number 9 is the cause or the reason for something. So let's look at some examples of this. We can use it to talk about the reason for a feeling or an emotion. She was tired from her workout. She was tired from her workout. In this case, we have from before her workout. This use of from is showing us the reason for this condition. So her workout is the reason she is tired, or she was tired in this case. So we use this before the cause of something. Let's look at the next example of this. I could tell he was upset from his message. I could tell he was upset from his message. So here we have from his message. So this use shows us that the message, in this case, is telling us some information. That's a cause or a reason for something. What is it doing? I could tell he was upset. Okay, so here's our condition. He was upset. And then I could tell. Notice this use of tell is kind of an interesting one. This means understand. Very casually in everyday spoken English, we don't say understand so much. We use tell to mean to be able to recognize something. So this means I was able to recognize, or I was able to understand he was upset from his message. So you can think of this use of from as like based on. So based on this information, I knew this. Okay? Let's look at one more example of this. Advertisers know about us from our data. Advertisers know about us from our data. So again, we have from before, in this case, our data. So this is the thing that causes the situation, or that kind of gives a reason for something. In this case, advertisers know about us. So what websites we go to and the products that we look at and so on. Why do they know this? From our data, or based on our data. So if this one is a little bit tricky for you to understand, you can kind of think of this use of from as meaning based on. So we can use from to describe a cause or a reason for something. And you'll also notice in these cases, we're following this with a noun phrase. So that's another really good hint that this is maybe a cause or a reason use of from. Okay, let's move on to the last one for this lesson. Number 10, the last one is to show something removed or to show someone removed. We often use this when we're talking about people removed from a situation. So the key here is the person is removed. That means they did not choose to go out of the situation. Instead, they were taken away. So let's look at these examples. He was fired from his job for skipping work. He was fired from his job for skipping work. So to skip work means to not go to work. You don't tell anybody anything. You just don't go to the office or don't go to your job. It's probably not a good idea, right? So he was fired. So to be fired means you lose your job. Your job is cut. You're done. So he was fired from his job. So in this case, this means he was removed from his job for skipping work. We use from to show the location or the condition, or in this case, the position that is no longer there. So the person was removed from that. Let's look at another example of this. She was removed from the group chat. She was removed from the group chat. So this refers to a text message situation. For example, someone sends too many text messages. You might think, oh my gosh, this is too much. So someone removes someone else from the group chat. So again, we have from before the thing the person was taken out of. So she was removed. An important thing to note with this use of from is showing us with the grammar of the sentence, this person did not choose to leave. That person was removed from something. So the grammar shows us it was not their choice. So keep this in mind when you come across sentences like these. Okay, last example sentence. The student was expelled from school. The student was expelled from school. Expel is like fired, as we saw in this sentence, but from school. So if a student has very, very bad behavior or there's some other kind of serious problem, the school might decide to cut the student out of the school. So the student was expelled from school means the student was removed from school. Again, these sentences show us that the person in this situation did not choose or did not decide for this removal. But that's the kind of the key with this use of from. So keep this in mind. We can show that something or someone was removed from a situation. Okay, so those are 10 ways to use the word from. I hope that you found some different uses and some different patterns that you can use to apply this word in efficient and smooth ways in your own writing and your own speaking. There are some other uses of from, but for this lesson, I wanted to focus on these 10. So if you have any questions or comments or want to practice making some example sentences with this word, please feel free to do so in the comment section of this video. Also, if you like this lesson, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Also, check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon. Bye!
Hi everybody, welcome back to Top Words. My name is Alicia, and today we're going to talk about 10 tech and gadget related words. Let's begin. Ta-da. Pre-order. The first word is pre-order. To pre-order, this is a verb. Pre, the prefix pre means like before something, and we have the verb order. So it means like to order something early. Pre-order means to order something before it's officially on sale. So you could say like pre-order the new iPhone or pre-order the new Xbox or pre-order a new video game, for example. These are things we order before they're available. We can't buy them yet, but we can register to receive them when they become available, to pre-order. In another sentence, I always pre-order the newest gadgets. Handset. The next word is handset. Handset. This is sort of a strange word, but we use handset for like anything we can use in our hands. So like a phone, we would say my handset. We use this a lot for phones and other things that we can use with our hands, I suppose. But mostly, I feel like in recent days, we use handset pretty much just for phones, like smartphones. So if you see the word handset in a news or a tech article, it probably refers to a phone, like the phone, like the iPhone or a smartphone or an Android, like the physical object is the handset. So in a sentence, have you ever broken your handset? Screen. The next word is screen. Screen. So a screen The screen is this part of, ooh, you saw my picture. Okay, the screen is this part of your phone or your smartphone, if you like. It's, let's see, I can see a screen. So any like part of a device that you can use to view something on is a screen. A computer screen, TV screen, tablet screen, smartphone screen. We also have screens on doors, if you like, but that's a different sort of screen. So a screen, it's easy to break, perhaps, if you drop it in just the right way. So the screen is the place where you view information. The part of your electronics where you view information is the screen. In a sentence, I cracked my screen. Sensor. The next word is maybe becoming more and more interesting. Sensor. This word sensor. A sensor, this is a noun, is a device that is used to detect something else. So, for example, there are motion sensors. They detect motion. They find motion. A motion sensor. Recently, in smartphone technology now, we have face sensors, or we can have like fingerprint sensors as well. They can detect or they can find fingerprints. They can sense or see faces too. So a sensor is a device, a technology to sense or to find something, to detect something. In a sentence, this phone has a face sensor. Wireless internet, Wi-Fi. The next word or phrase is wireless internet or Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi. So wireless internet has become more and more common in recent years. Wireless means no wire, and internet is just the internet connection to it. So, but wireless internet is very long to say, so we usually just say Wi-Fi. So we have Wi-Fi, like Wi-Fi hotspots, free Wi-Fi, maybe there are paid Wi-Fi, maybe you need a password to log in to your Wi-Fi, but generally we use Wi-Fi to talk about wireless internet. In a sentence, what's your Wi-Fi password? Charger. The next word is charger. Charger is a very important part of your technology, I think. A charger is the cord or the cable, though now we're seeing wireless chargers, I suppose, is usually a cord or a cable we connect our device to electric power with. This part is called the charger. So there's a charger on this camera, your phone has a charger, anything that is battery powered has a charger. But like I said, now we're seeing some wireless charging technology coming out. But maybe we'll still call that chargers. We'll still refer to those as chargers in the future. In a sentence, can I borrow your charger? Bloatware. The next word is bloatware. Bloatware. So maybe you can see at the end of this word is ware, like software or hardware. Bloat. Bloat, it means like, for example, if your body is holding on to a lot of water, it feels like too big, kind of like we say bloated. It's like there's too much of something. So bloatware is extra stuff on your computer, usually software. So for example, if you get a new computer, you buy a new computer, and there's a lot of extra software, we call that extra software bloatware. It's all the stuff that you don't need. It's just extra stuff from the company that made the computer. In a sentence, my computer came with so much bloatware installed. Disable. The next word is disable. Disable, it's a verb, to disable. So to disable means to turn off or to stop or to make not available something. So we can disable like a face sensor. We can disable Siri if you use iPhone. You can disable, or the opposite is enable, but you can disable any function or many functions on your phone or many functions on your computer. To disable something. Of course, to reverse that is to enable something. In a sentence, how do you disable notifications? Megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte. The next word is really 3 words. I have megabyte, gigabyte, and terabyte. These are different ways of measuring data. So megabyte is the smallest, gigabyte is the next, and terabyte is the largest in this list. So these are different ways of measuring our data. We could say, for example, my computer has 2 gigabytes of RAM. However, I want to mention megabyte, gigabyte, and terabyte are quite long, and usually we do not use these in conversation. We say for megabyte, megs, and for gigabyte, gigs, And for terabyte, well, I guess we always just use tera. 2 tera, 1 tera, 3 tera. But in writing, you will see instead of megabyte, MB. In writing for gigabyte, you'll see GB. And for terabyte, TB. So please keep in mind there are a few different ways of talking about and writing about these vocabulary words. So when talking about RAM, your random access memory on your computer, you could say, my computer has 2 gigs of RAM. My computer has 4 gigs of RAM. For a hard disk, a removable hard disk, you could say, I have a 1 terabyte removable hard disk. Or for maybe an SD card, a small memory card, you could say, this is a 64 megabyte SD card, for example. In another sentence, how many gigs of RAM does your computer have? Geared toward. The next word is geared toward. Geared toward this is a word that I saw in a few tech articles, which made me want to include it in this list. Geared toward means intended for, or the target audience of a product is. So like this product is geared towards maybe gadget enthusiasts, or this product is geared towards home cooks. This product is geared towards teachers. So geared towards means intended for, or made for, or the target audience is. We use geared towards in this way, but I saw this in a lot of tech and tech news articles, so I included it here. In another sentence, this app is geared towards people who like shopping. So those are 10 tech and gadget related words. I hope those were useful for you. If you have any questions or any comments or want to try an example sentence, please go ahead in the comment section below this video. If you like this video, please make sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Check us out at EnglishClass101.com for more good stuff too. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Top Words, and we'll see you again soon. Bye! Hi everybody, welcome back to Top Words. My name is Alicia, and today we're going to talk about 10 ways to say you want something. So let's go. Want. The first word is want. Want. We use want for anything we want to receive, we want to get. Any desire you have for an object, for a person, you can say, I want something. So for example, I want a new pair of shoes. I want a puppy. I want a new house. Want. We use want for desires. So in this sentence, I want a new pair of shoes. Hope. The next word is hope. Hope. So we use hope for something in the future. Something in the future that we want to happen. Something that we want to occur. A hope in the future. So hope is sometimes used for like a concept, like for the weather, for example. Like, I hope it's sunny tomorrow, or I hope it doesn't rain tomorrow. So some desire, something you want in the future, like we'll talk about it later, but kind of you can imagine like you're thinking positively about something you want in the future. We use hope for this. So I hope I get a good job someday, or I hope my friend calls me back. So in this sentence, I hope this new project is successful. Wish. So the next word is wish, wish. So we use wish in a similar way to hope, but wish has kind of some set phrases, like to wish someone a happy birthday, for example, means to hope they have. You want them to have a happy birthday, but we don't say, I want you to have a happy birthday. We say, I wish you a happy birthday, or I wish you safe travels, for example. So hope, it's like a hope for someone else. So I wish you blah, blah, blah. I wish you safe travels. I wish you a happy birthday. I wish you a happy marriage, for example. We also use wish for something that is different, a situation that is different from the current situation. We use it in a sentence like, I wish I were blah, blah, blah. So I wish is used for something like a hope or a desire for something which is not the case now. So like, I wish I had a nice set of cookware. That's true. Or I wish I could travel anywhere in the world at any time. Like, I can't do that now. So we use wish for things that are maybe not possible or they are not the situation now. So in one more example sentence, don't you wish you could travel anywhere, anytime? Desire. The next word is desire, desire. So desire is not so commonly used in everyday conversation. Desire tends to have more of like a romantic or intimate nuance about it. Or I suppose we could say like it has a more formal nuance to it. But in my mind, it has more of like an intimate relationship nuance. So like a strong desire for your boyfriend or a strong desire for your girlfriend. It has kind of like a physical relationship nuance. So like to desire someone else. We use it in that way. You might sometimes see it like the client's desire a different approach, or we desire something else for this project. You might hear it in those cases where it sounds a little more formal than want. But I feel that in many cases, desire sometimes has a physical relationship nuance. So please be careful with how you use desire. In a sentence, they desire a response as soon as possible. Crave. Okay, the next word is crave, crave. So to crave, this is as a verb. In the noun form, we say craving. I have a craving for blah, 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 or I'm craving something. So to crave means to want something so much you can't stop thinking about it. Like, this is really commonly used for food. So a food that you really, really want to eat, we use the word crave. Like, I'm craving ramen, I'm craving pizza, I'm craving a burrito, I'm craving ice cold beer, for example. I'm craving a sugary donut. So the thing that you really want to eat or drink, you can explain that really strong feeling with the word crave. So I'm craving something. So yeah, in a sentence, I'm craving ramen, or I have a craving for ramen is good too. Yearn. The next word is yearn. Yearn. This is a very old-fashioned word. We often use it with yearn for, and it's used, you might see it like in old, well, not, I shouldn't say old. You might see it in literature, so in books and novels and stuff. To yearn for someone or to yearn for something. It means to, it's like crave, but kind of an old-fashioned, like you really, really want something, or you want someone, but it has like this sort of romantic, like kind of old-timey feel about it. This is not a word that's used really in everyday conversation. You might see it in a book, or you might see it in, I don't know, I suppose like a news article, perhaps, like in quoting something, like the politician yearned for his days as like a student, for example. So it has sort of this old-fashioned, yes, but also this rather, I keep coming back to the word romantic, but I don't mean it in terms of like a love relation, like a love thing. I mean in terms of like this idealized image of something. You have this ideal image of something kind of beautiful in your past, or some beautiful other thing somewhere, like yearning for like pastures in a different country, or there's some kind of like beautiful image that someone yearns for. So this is a fairly rare word, I feel like, from this list that we've talked about so far. In a sentence, he yearned for his girlfriend. So there's something that's out there that you just really want. But again, kind of weird. It means or weird to say now, but you might see this in books and things. Lust. The next word is lust, to lust for something. So to lust for, so similar to desire, lust has more of a like romantic or like a strong intimate relationship nuance. So lust for someone else, for another person, means you have a strong physical attraction to someone. So like to lust for that girl, or to lust for, or we also use to lust after someone. So like, oh, I'm lusting after that guy, I'm lusting after that girl. is like you have a really strong physical attraction. So the idea here is like a very physical attraction is the deal. We also use it, at least in modern American English, to describe a strong visual attraction, so seeing something, like a visual attraction to objects, especially when shopping. So like I'm lusting after that bag, or I'm lusting after those new shoes, something that you really, really want to buy. So we can use lust for that. So like I'm lusting after that new car, or like, I don't know. I don't personally use it this way, but I would say you lust after some object. Lust after a new camera, lusting after blah, blah, blah. So to lust after something means to really, really want to buy something. So in a sentence, I'm lusting for that new bag. Can I have? So the next expression, it's actually a question pattern. It's can I have? So when you want something, when you're shopping, when you're at a restaurant, when you're at a bar, and you want an item, you can say, can I have, as a way to ask for the item. So can I have a beer? Can I have a glass of wine? Can I have a burger? Can I have that TV? Can I have that camera? Can I have that iPad? Anytime you want an object, you want to purchase or order an object, you can use can I have to ask for that. So in a sentence, can I have a beer? I'd like. Another expression you can use that's to ask for something in a service situation is I'd like. I'd like. So I'd like a new car, or I'd like a haircut, I'd like a new dress, or I'd like some help. I'd like to know where the bathroom is. So you can use I'd like, I'd. Be careful. So not I like, I'd. It means I would. I would like, blah, blah, blah. I'd like becomes I would like in the expanded form. So use this anytime you want something, you want help. You can use this in a lot of different situations. In a sentence, I'd like some more time to work on this. I need. Next is I need. I need. So like I'd like, I need is used to ask for something in a service situation at work. So I need 4 pastries, please. Or I need 3 pizzas. Or I need 5 drinks, please. So again, ordering something, requesting something, you can use I need to introduce that. I need a trip to the dentist. I need to sleep. So something you desire, something you need, something you want. You can use I need to explain that thing. In another sentence, I need your help. So those are 10 ways to say you want something. If you have any other ideas, be sure to let us know in a comment. Also, feel free to try out these expressions in the comment section below this video. If you liked the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Check us out at EnglishClass101.com for more good stuff as well. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Top Words, and I'll see you again soon. Bye! Hi everybody, welcome back to Top Words. My name is Alicia, and today we're going to talk about 10 phrases for talking on the phone. Let's go. Hello? The first word is hello. 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 Always in that upward intonation. Hello? Hello? So if you say hello when you answer the phone, it's like you're very excited to answer the phone. But usually we do it with an upward intonation because I guess this isn't really the point these days, but before, like when we answered the phone, we didn't have caller ID, so we'd pick up the phone and we didn't know who was on the other end of the line. So it was a question. But now I guess we could pick up the phone and say like, oh, it's you, person in the corner whose name I will not say on the recording. But now we know who's calling, so we can just say, hi, person in the corner. How is it going? But before we didn't know who was calling because we did not have caller ID, though I imagine some people watching this will not remember a time before caller ID. Wah, wah. Do you remember a time before caller ID? Yeah. Oh. But anyway, we didn't know who was calling. So it was a question. Hello? Hello? Of course, now if there's like an unknown number, we can say hello. But in most cases, we know who's calling, so you can just say hi. But anyway, the most basic way to answer the phone is hello. It's. The next expression is it's blah, 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 meaning it's your name. So, for example, if you are calling someone's office or you're calling maybe someone who is not expecting to hear from you, for example, you introduce yourself with this expression. It's Alicia. It's Alicia from EnglishClass101.com. It's Alicia from your neighborhood. It's Alicia from your worst nightmare. I don't even know. But you can introduce yourself and the place you represent or the place you come from. But yeah, the most basic form is just it's plus your name. In a sentence, hi, it's Alicia. How are you? This is name from company. Okay, the next expression, this is name from company. So I talked a little bit about this in word number 2. So this is Alicia from EnglishClass101.com. So instead of using it's, like I talked about in word 2, this is Alicia from company. This is Alicia from EnglishClass101.com. This is Steve Jobs from Apple. This is Daenerys Targaryen from Game of Thrones. What? This is... Let's continue. This is Alicia from EnglishClass101.com. And we're having trouble today. Okay, let's go to word 4. I just wanted to give you a call to... the next expression is, I just wanted to give you a call to. I just wanted to give you a call to. Practice this one a little bit. This is a great expression to introduce the purpose of your phone call. I just wanted to give you a call to let you know about the project. I just wanted to give you a call to update you with the latest information. I just wanted to give you a call to say hi. I just wanted to give you a call to tell you I'm thinking about you. I just wanted to give you a call to give you the results of your test. So I just wanted to give you a call to. Practice this one. I just wanted to give you a call to blah, blah, blah. But make sure the T sounds in particular, I just wanted, is not so clear. So I'm speaking very, very clearly right now. But I just wanted, the T sounds are very soft. I just wanted to give you a call to blah, blah, blah. It's very, very useful for introducing yourself and introducing your purpose. Of course, you can use this in an email too. I just wanted to write to is fine too. Okay, in one more sentence, I just wanted to give you a call to wish you a happy birthday. I'm calling to. The next expression is I'm calling to. I'm calling to. I'm calling to. So if the last expression, I just wanted to give you a call to, is if that's too long, you can shorten it to I'm calling to blah, blah, blah. So you can use the same expressions I mentioned last time. I'm calling to give you an update. I'm calling to let you know the results. I'm calling to say hello. I'm calling to inform you that you've won $1 million. So I'm calling to introduces the purpose of your call. I'm calling to blah, blah, blah. In another sentence, I'm calling to ask if I can make a reservation. Can I call you back? The next expression is very useful. The next expression is, can I call you back? 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 That you hear the you sounds like ya. Can I call ya back? Can I call you back? This is an expression that is used when someone is busy. So like right now, if my phone rings, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm filming this episode of Top Words. I can't talk to you right now. I can pick up the phone and say, can I call you back? So call you back means return your call. So I'll hang up the phone. I'll put the phone down. But when I'm finished with whatever I'm doing now, I will return your call. I will call you back. Call you back. Can I call you back? Is it okay? So can I call you back? Very, very useful expression when you are busy, and you may hear this expression a lot. Can I call you back? In a sentence, sorry, I'm in a meeting. Can I call you back? He or she is not available at the moment. The next word, or the next expression rather, is he or she is not available at the moment. He or she is not available at the moment. So if you are answering the phone for someone else, so you are maybe picking up the phone in an office, or you're picking up the phone for your friend, or what, I don't know. Someone calls asking for a different person in your office, for example, but they are busy. They're in a meeting, they're away from their desk, they can't talk is the point. Use the expression, he or she is unavailable at the moment. Unavailable, so un is our prefix. Available means able to do something, or just there's access to that person. Un means not. So we cannot access that person, or we cannot talk to that person right now. He or she is unavailable at the moment. So you can follow this expression with, can I have them call you back? Can I have him call you back? Can I have her call you back? You can use this expression to follow this statement. In a sentence, sorry, the manager is not available at the moment. You're breaking up. So the next expression is you're breaking up. You're breaking up. You're breaking up. So this is an expression we use when sometimes there's like signal trouble with your phone, especially with mobile phones, with cell phones. Maybe you are in a location where the connection is very bad, or it's hard to hear the other person. We use in American English, you're breaking up. So meaning your words are breaking up. We can't hear all your words. That's sort of the image. Your words, your connection is breaking up. So to break up means to like become separate. Yeah, like in relationships, to break up means to become separate. So your words, in this case, your connection is breaking up. All these pieces are coming out. Yeah. So if you are on a phone call, to try to communicate this to the other person, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. You're breaking up. You're breaking up. Very useful expression. You can use this on like Skype too. That's fine. Video calls are also fine. Sorry, you're breaking up. Okay. In a sentence, I can't hear you very well. You're breaking up. There's not a good connection. The next word is there's not a good connection. There's not a good connection. Similar to you're breaking up, we use there's not a good connection if there's a poor mobile phone connection or a poor internet connection. Some kind of communication is not working. It's not a good connection. You can't communicate very well. There's not a good connection. On Skype, I can't see you. There's not a good connection. Or I can't hear you. There's not a good connection. So it means that there's some connection problem between you and the other person. In a sentence, I can't hear you. I don't think there's a good connection. Bye. The next word is the last word, bye. So when you're finished with your conversation, it's fine just to say bye to end the conversation very clearly. This is something I've noticed, which is actually very strange. Like if you watch TV shows like drama, like police dramas or whatever, the characters will often, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, they'll have their conversation on the phone and then they'll be like, okay, yeah, great. Boop. And then that's it. They don't say goodbye in TV shows. They just like shut their phone. It's like we say goodbye. Like when you finish a phone call with somebody, you say bye, but for whatever reason, I guess it just looks cool. I don't know. A lot of characters in TV shows don't say goodbye at the end of phone calls, but you should. So it shows the listener like the call is finished, your conversation is finished. So say bye, or if you want, you can use the more formal goodbye at the end of your conversation. But in general, okay, bye is fine to end the conversation. In more formal phone calls, you can say, okay, thanks very much, or thank you very much for your time. Goodbye, if you like, or thank you very much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye is a little more casual, but it's fairly common in phone calls to end phone calls. So give all of them a try. In a sentence, talk to you later. Bye. That's how I end videos too. So it's like you can use it for everything. So those are 10 phrases for talking on the phone. I hope that those are useful for you. If you have any questions, please let us know in the comments. Or of course, if you want to try out a different sentence too, that's great. If you liked this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already as well. Check us out at EnglishClass101.com for more good stuff too. Thanks very much for watching this episode, and I'll see you again soon. Bye. I did. Cracked my knuckle. Who am I today? I drank a lot of coffee. We're on track. I drank all the coffee. I'm very sorry. We have to, okay. But introduce yourself with this is blah, blah, blah from blah, blah, company. That was a weird sound. So this is, I need to do that again because that was a very embarrassing sound. Hello, 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 hello. I don't know what I'm doing. Like Dory, like the whale. Hello. If you're a whale. That's how whales answer the phone. Did you know that? I'm sorry, we're getting very off track and this is only the first word. Oh my gosh. Hi everybody, welcome back to Top Words. My name is Alicia and today we're going to talk about 10 ways to reject an invitation. So hopefully these are 10 ways to make your rejection a little bit softer, a little more polite. So let's go. Sorry, I already have plans. The first phrase is, sorry, I already have plans. Sorry, I already have plans. Sorry, I already have plans is nice because it's very vague. I have plans. So there's something else I'm planning to do. I already. So before this conversation, I made different plans. And sorry, so I apologize, but sorry, I already have plans. This is a very useful phrase, very vague, kind of open. So in a sentence, thanks for the dinner invite, but sorry, I already have plans. I can't go, I have to. The next phrase is, I can't go, I have to, blah, blah, blah. So I can't go, or I can't do the activity you suggested. I can't go, I have to study. I can't go, I have to work. I can't go, I have to have dinner with my family. I can't go, I have to have a meeting. I can't go, I have to wash my dog. So I can't go, I have this other thing I'm responsible for. I have to do something else. So in another sentence, I can't go, I have to work late. I'm staying home tonight. The third expression is I'm staying home tonight. I'm staying home tonight. So if someone invites you to an activity outside the house, just a nice way to say no is, sorry, I'm staying home tonight. I want to stay in my house. I'm staying in tonight is another way to say that. So I'm not going out. I don't have plans to go out anywhere. I'm staying home tonight. In a sentence, thanks for inviting me, but I'm staying home tonight. Thanks, but I'm going to sit this one out. The next expression is thanks, but I'm gonna sit this one out. So sit this one out. We use this for sports actually, to sit something out. To sit this one means this time, this activity. Thanks, but I'm gonna sit this one out means to sit out means to not participate. So in sports, to sit out means the other people on your team are participating in the game, but you are sitting out of the game. You are on the bench, you are waiting, or you are not participating. So the idea is the same for an activity. I'm going to sit this one out. So this time I'm not going to participate. In a sentence, thanks, but I've been working a lot lately. I think I'm going to sit this one out. I'm out. The next expression is I'm out. I'm out. So very, very casual. Use this with people you are close to. It just means I'm not participating. I am out of this activity. I am not in this activity. I'm out. So just you can't go, you don't want to go, or just whatever. You are comfortable enough with the other people, you can say a very short and casual rejection. Just say, I'm out. In a sentence, I've already spent too much money this month. I'm out. Or, sorry, I can't join you guys tonight. I have lots of work to do. I'm out. Or, nope, I'm tired. I'm out. That one's very, very casual. Apologies, but I'll be unable to attend. The next expression is apologies, but I will be unable to attend. Apologies, but I'll be unable to attend. This you might see more in written correspondence, like in an email or in a letter, perhaps. So apologies is more formal than sorry, but I will be unable to attend means in the future, it is not going to be possible for me to participate. I will be unable to attend. So you can use this to reject like a reception, a formal event, a business meeting perhaps, something you are unable to attend. It's not possible for you to attend. This is a nice way to reject the invitation. In a sentence, apologies, but I will be unable to attend the seminar. I'm terribly sorry, but I have another appointment. Okay, next one. The next expression is, I'm terribly sorry, but I have another appointment. I'm terribly sorry, but I have another appointment. So I'm terribly sorry is I'm very sorry, but terribly sounds more formal than very. I'm terribly sorry, but I have another appointment. So you can use this at work. You can use this for business meetings, for maybe trying to meet like a client if you want, but kind of more formal situations. I'm terribly sorry, but I have another appointment. So you want to meet someone, I'm terribly sorry, but I cannot. I have another appointment. There's something else. And using the word appointment makes it sound like it's kind of a more formal situation. It makes it sound like you have something else work-related you need to do or some other responsibility to take care of. I have another appointment. In a sentence, I'm terribly sorry, but I have another appointment at that time. Unfortunately, I have to. The next expression is, unfortunately, I have to blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, I have to blah, blah, blah. You can use this in casual situations and in formal situations. I would use this more in formal situations because the word unfortunately sounds a bit more formal. In casual situations, I would just say, sorry, I have to, as we talked about earlier. But in more formal situations, you can say, unfortunately, I have to, blah, blah, blah. So unfortunately, I have to go to a meeting at that time, or unfortunately, I will be away on business, or unfortunately, I have to arrange a Skype meeting for a different time, or something, I don't know. So unfortunately expresses your apology, your that I'm sorry feeling. In another sentence, unfortunately, I have to attend a meeting. Thanks, but I'm really tired. The next expression is thanks, but I'm really tired. Thanks, but I'm really tired. So this is good if you get a spontaneous. So spontaneous just means no plan, a very quick, sudden invitation. Like your friend sends you a message like, hey, let's get dinner tonight. Or hey, do you want to get a drink? You can say thanks, but I'm really tired. So thank you for the invitation, but I'm really tired. So maybe after work, like let's get a drink after work. Thanks, but I'm really tired. Or let's go to the beach. Thanks, but I'm really tired. I want to stay home today. Or let's go hiking. Thanks, but I'm really tired. So some spontaneous, sudden, quick invitation, you can say thanks, but I'm really tired to respond. Okay. In a sentence, sounds fun. Thanks, but I'm really tired. I'd love to, but I'm. The next expression is, I'd love to, but I'm blah, 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 ing. I'd love to, but I'm working. I'd love to, but I'm studying. I'd love to, but I'm baking a cake. I'd love to, but I'm getting my hair cut. So we use this ing form for some activity we are planning to do. I'd love to, but I'm going swimming. Or I'd love to, but I'm hiking on that day. So using the progressive form of the verb related to the activity shows that your plan has been decided already. So try to use the progressive form of the verb here in this expression. In a sentence, I'd love to, but I'm leaving town that day. So those are 10 ways to reject an invitation. I hope that those are useful for you, and these are kind of some more polite ways to say no. If you have any questions or comments, please be sure to let us know in the comment section below this video. If you liked the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel too. Check us out at EnglishClass101.com for more good stuff as well. Thanks very much for watching this episode, and we'll see you again soon. Bye!
Hi everybody, welcome back to Know Your Verbs. My name is Alicia, and in this episode, we're going to talk about the verb feel. Let's get started. The basic definition of the verb feel is to experience a physical sensation or an emotion. Some examples. I felt awful today. She must feel great after her jog. Now let's look at the conjugations for this verb. Present, feel, feels. Past, felt. Past participle, felt. Progressive, feeling. So now let's talk about some additional meanings for this verb. The first additional meaning is to use the sense of touch to understand the characteristics of something. Some examples.
Feel this fabric. It's so soft. The doctor felt the patient's forehead. So these examples show us that someone is using their sense of touch to understand like the characteristics or the features or like the situation in some way. In the first example sentence, it's a command, like feel this fabric. In other words, touch this fabric. Come understand the way this fabric feels by touching it. So to feel something in this way, like you're trying to get an understanding of that material. So you use your sense of touch. In the second example sentence, the doctor felt the patient's forehead. It refers to a doctor placing his or her hand on the patient's forehead to understand like the patient's temperature or maybe some other like condition of the patient. So it's touching in order to understand something. The second additional meaning is to seem, to seem. Let's look at some examples. This doesn't feel right. It feels like summer. So this use of feel doesn't refer to an actual physical sensation. It doesn't refer to touching something. Actually, we use it in the way we would use the word seem. So we are using feel and seem to mean like kind of something that's maybe similar to something else, or something that we get kind of an impression of, but we can't always confirm. So let's look at the examples then. This doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right. So here we could replace feel with seem. So we use this expression when we're in a situation where something seems strange or maybe negative or dangerous. This doesn't feel right. So this doesn't seem right is the meaning. So it seems like something might not be good or might not be correct in the situation. So there's no physical sensation there. It's just kind of our thinking, just our opinion. In the second example sentence, there's not necessarily a physical sensation. When we say it feels like summer, like we can talk about perhaps the surrounding area there. Maybe there's like a festival or there are lots of people out or it's a hot day, but it's not actually summer. So it feels like it's not necessarily just a temperature statement. It's just kind of a general experience-related statement. So today feels like summer. Like overall, the experience is similar to summer here. The next additional meaning is to have sympathy or understanding for someone. Examples. She really feels for her roommate. He lost his job. I feel you. Don't worry. We'll fix this problem. One quick point here is about the expression to feel for someone. You saw this in the first example sentence, like I feel for you, or she feels for her roommate. We commonly use feel for someone when we're talking about expressing sympathy. So in the first example sentence, she feels for her roommate. He lost his job. That means she is expressing sympathy or understanding for her roommate. She has some kind of emotional response, wanting to support that person. We use the verb feel to express that. In the second example sentence, we see the very casual expression, I feel you, I feel you. I feel you is used when we're listening to a close friend. We're understanding their story, understanding their situation. We are giving them sympathy, giving them support. You could say, I feel you. Don't worry, we'll fix this problem. So typically it's in a situation where the other person needs some help or needs some advice. You can say, I feel you. It's very casual. Perhaps younger people would say this more often. But when you're talking about someone else, like I feel for you, it sounds a little bit more like you're expressing sympathy. In the expression, I feel you, it's like I understand you, I got you. I feel for you sounds like I feel sad or I feel bad about what happened to you. With I feel you, it doesn't have that same nuance. The next additional meaning is to have an opinion about something. Some examples. How do you feel about this change? She feels strongly about personal privacy laws. So this use of feel is related to having an opinion about something. In the first example sentence, how do you feel about this change? It means, what are your opinions about this change? What do you think about this change? How do you feel about this also suggests, like, do you have an emotional reaction to the situation? So it's like, what do you think? And what is your emotional response here? So how do you feel about this change? You could say, I think it's a good idea, but I'm really unhappy, for example. So it's like opinion and emotions are together here. In the second example sentence, she feels strongly about personal privacy laws. It means she has a strong opinion about personal privacy laws. So again, that sounds like an opinion. She has a strong opinion about personal privacy laws, yes. And maybe there's some kind of emotional component. There's like a part of her opinion that is also related to an emotional reaction. So feel, used in this way for opinions, is like, yes, there's a thought, an opinion, and an emotion combined here. So we can use the word feel to describe that. Let's move along to some variations with this verb. The first variation is to feel out. To feel out or to feel something out means to try to understand something without being direct, like without directly asking a question. Let's look at some examples. When you meet with management, see if you can feel out how things might change next year. She's feeling out the situation before making any big decisions. So both of these example sentences use feel out to mean try to get information in an indirect way. In the first example sentence, it's about meeting with management. So the person who is going to the meeting is going to try to get information about something, like changes in the following year, but they're not going to ask direct questions. We know this because the expression feel out is used. So try to feel out means try to just kind of gently gather information. Instead of saying, what are the plans for next year? Maybe you ask very indirect questions, or you take notes carefully, or you listen carefully to small things people say that give you hints about the situation. So to feel out means not to be direct, but to try to gather information. In the second example sentence, she's feeling things out before making any big decisions. It's referring to the same thing. She's trying to gather information in an indirect way. So she's not asking direct questions. She's just trying to kind of quietly get the information she needs before she makes a big decision. So to feel something out means to take this indirect approach to information gathering. So the next variation is the expression to feel somebody up, to feel somebody up. This means to touch someone in an intimate way. And we typically use this in inappropriate situations. So maybe somebody does not want to be touched in an intimate way, but someone does. So this is something that you might hear in casual descriptions of like news stories where someone has touched another person inappropriately. Some examples. The news mentioned a serious problem of a man feeling up women on a crowded commuter train. She felt me up at the bar. I was shocked. So both of these example sentences show typical uses of the expression to feel someone up. So it means that someone is being touched very closely in intimate parts of their body, and typically without permission or without having a close relationship with that person. So it's often a stranger or someone you do not expect who touches inappropriately. So in the first example sentence, it's like it's a strange man who feels up, who touches inappropriately women on a commuter train. In the second example sentence, it's a woman who touches someone inappropriately at a bar. We see, I was shocked in the second example sentence. So this shows that the behavior was inappropriate. The behavior was unexpected and inappropriate. We use feel up in this way. So when you want to talk about a positive experience of an intimate physical contact, we typically do not use the expression feel up. When we're describing inappropriate physical contact, we do use the expression feel up to refer to very close touching of someone, typically in their very intimate places. So it's not a word with a positive nuance at all. All right, so those are a few new ways I hope that you can use the verb feel. Of course, if you have any questions or comments, or if you know a different way of using the verb feel, please feel free to let us know in the comment section of this video. As always, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel if you have not already, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other things that can help you as you study English. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Know Your Verbs, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye. Hi everybody, welcome back to Know Your Verbs. My name is Alicia, and in this lesson, we're going to talk about the verb write. Let's get started. Let's begin with the basic definition of the verb write. The basic definition of the verb write is to create characters on a surface. Some examples. Write your phone number here. I haven't written a letter in a long time. Now let's look at the conjugations for this verb. Present, write, writes. Past, wrote. Past participle, written. Progressive, writing. One note about this verb and the conjugations of this verb is about the past participle form. It's spelled W-R-I-T-T-E-N, but in pronunciation we tend to say written, written. We don't say written, written. It's very hard to say that quickly, so we use written instead. It sounds more like a D sound almost, so the T sound is very soft. When you're speaking, try to use written instead of written. It's very hard to say. So one extra pronunciation point for this verb. Let's continue along to some additional meanings now. The first additional meaning is to communicate with written information. Some examples. The author wrote that he enjoyed the atmosphere of the restaurant. Write me when you get home. So we use the verb write here to just mean communicate with me in a letter form or in written form. So while you might not see a sentence like this, write me when you get home, you might not see this so much in modern English. This is the reason why this verb might be chosen. You might, however, see or hear this in movies or in TV shows that are set in times before the internet, before communication. So if characters say like, please write me when you arrive, that's what this means. The first example sentence, however, shows a modern day example. The author wrote about the atmosphere in the restaurant. So that means the author communicated an idea in written form about the atmosphere of the restaurant. So if it's helpful for you, you can kind of think of the verb write as like say, but for information that's written down. So we use say for things that we verbalize, we actually speak. But when we're writing, we can use write kind of to report that. So the author wrote that he enjoyed the atmosphere of the restaurant is like saying the author said he enjoyed the atmosphere of the restaurant, but it's for written information, not spoken information. So we use write in this way. The next additional meaning is to compose music, to compose music. Let's look at some examples. Rachmaninoff wrote epic piano pieces. Have you ever written any music? So this use of write is specifically for music. We might use the verb make music, but that tends to mean actually creating sound. When we're talking about writing music, we actually mean like putting pen to paper or using a software, for example, to create notes on a page. When we talk about writing music, it actually means like creating something for someone else to read in order to make that music. So writing music and playing music or making music can be different things. In the first example sentence, Rachmaninoff wrote epic piano pieces. Rachmaninoff is a very famous or was a very famous composer. So we use wrote to show that he composed. He actually put on paper all the notes, all of the markings to create these epic pieces. Epic means like really, really amazing, big, long pieces. In the second example sentence, it's a question. Have you ever written any music? So this is a question asking if the other person has the experience of putting a pen to paper or using software to record notes and other marks so that someone else can play that music. Let's move along to some variations with this verb then. The first variation is to write somebody or something off. This means to decide that someone or something is not going to be useful. Some examples. Don't write people off just because they're young. The company wrote off the project, saying it was a waste of time. All right, so when we write off a person or write off a thing like a project, it means we decide that that thing or that person is not useful or is not important. So this does have a very negative nuance about it. The first example sentence is a piece of advice. Don't write people off just because they're young. So another way of saying this sentence could be, don't assume or don't think that someone is useless or not important just because they're a young person. So in other words, you should treat everyone with respect, is kind of the idea here. Or don't assume that they don't know anything. In the second example sentence, though, it's a statement. So the company wrote off the project, saying it was a waste of time, meaning the company decided that the project was not important or it was useless. And the nuance as well, the feeling here is that the project maybe is canceled or the project is suspended. There's some reason the project is not going to continue. So to write something off is to assume that it's just not worth your time. So this does have a very negative feeling. There's another similar use of this expression, to write something off, that's used when talking specifically about money. There are actually a couple different ways to use this, but one common way that it's used in business is to talk about accepting a loss. So for example, we tried to collect the debt from our client, but after months of no contact, we wrote it off as a loss. So to write something off as a loss, here it's past tense, wrote something off as a loss, means to accept a loss. So in business terms and money terms, that means to accept not receiving money. It's a loss. You're losing money. So this is very specific. It's used for money and perhaps for legal and business-related terms. So you might hear more commonly in media writing someone or something off in terms of not thinking they're important. But if you do hear it related to money and business and deals and trades, it could mean just accepting a loss, accepting a money-related loss. Let's move along to our next variation. The next variation is to write somebody up. This phrasal verb means to report someone in writing for wrongdoing. Examples. The manager wrote him up for repeated absences. The teacher's going to write us all up if you don't stop talking. So to write somebody up means to give a bad report of someone's behavior. So to write somebody up is used when someone did something bad or something against the rules, or they've made someone angry, like an authority figure angry, and they submit a report about that behavior. So it's a bad thing. To get written up means you did something wrong and someone reported that about you. We tend to use this in school or perhaps in work situations. We don't use this so much in legal situations. It could be used for legal situations, but I think in those cases we would probably just use report, to file a report, for example, or to make a report about someone. To get written up sounds like there's some kind of trouble, like a school-related problem, for example, but we probably wouldn't use this in serious situations, serious wrongdoing. It's used more for minor, kind of internal organization-related offenses. So in the first example sentence, we see a past tense example. The manager wrote him up for repeated absences. So in this case, an employee repeatedly missed work. Repeated absences, and absence means missing work. So the manager wrote him up for repeated absences. Another way to say that is he got written up for repeated absences. So you can change the subject of your sentence a little bit too. The second example sentence, though, is a bit of advice. It's a plea, a request to other classmates. The teacher is gonna write us all up if you don't stop talking. So the idea here is that maybe there are a lot of noisy kids in a classroom and one person is really worried about getting written up. So they say the teacher is gonna write us all up if you don't stop talking. So that's saying to the classmates, please stop talking. I don't want to get in trouble. The next variation is to write somebody out of something. This means to fail to include someone in a written document or other media. This is used when someone is expected to be included in the document or was included in that media in the past. Some examples. My parents wrote me out of their will. The actor's character was written out of the show. So let's look at the first example sentence. My parents wrote me out of their will. Let's look first at this vocabulary word will. Will, used as a noun here, refers to a very specific legal document. This document details, gives information about what to do if the person who wrote the will dies. So if I die, there's a document that explains what should happen, like with my house or with my money or with my objects, my possessions. That's a will. So when we write people into our will, which is the opposite of this expression, when we write people into our will, we include people in that process. So if I die, for example, I write my brother into my will and I specify my brother gets X, Y, and Z. That's writing someone into your will. The opposite here, however, is to write someone out of a will. My parents wrote me out of their will means my parents did not include me in their will. In other words, if my parents die or if something happens to my parents, I'm not going to get anything from my family. So this is kind of a common expression of surprise. Like we typically expect to be included in our family's wills as family members. So to be written out of a will is quite shocking for many people. The next example is the actor's character was written out of the show. This is used if an actor needs to leave a show or an actor is fired from a show, for example. In this case, it's not a written document. In this case, it's a piece of media, like TV, for example. So an actor who is written out of the show, or the actor's character who is written out of the show, means the people who are writing the show, writing the script for the show, choose to write the show in such a way that the actor's character disappears. So the actor's character is written out of the show. They are no longer a part of the story. So you might see this relating to like media scandals sometimes. We've seen a little bit of that over the last few years with people who are involved in scandals and then they have to be removed from their TV show. So we can use to write someone out of a show to explain that situation. All right, so I hope that you found a few new ways of using the verb write. Of course, if you have any questions or comments or want to practice making some example sentences with this verb, please feel free to do so. Also, this verb has a lot of phrasal verbs, so if you want some more information about this verb and the other ways you can use it, please check a dictionary. I highly recommend that. Of course, if you liked this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for other resources for your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Know Your Verbs, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye. Hi everybody, welcome back to Know Your Verbs. My name is Alicia, and in this lesson, we're going to talk about the verb make. Let's get started. The basic definition of make is to create or produce something. Some examples. Let's make cookies. She wants to make the presentation. Now let's take a look at the conjugations for this verb. Present, make, makes. Past, made. Past participle, made. Progressive, making. Now let's talk about some additional meanings for this verb. The first additional meaning is to cause to be or to become. This sounds quite open, so let's take a look at some examples. How can we make studying easier? Dogs make good pets. So this use of make means to cause something to be like something else or to cause something to become something else. In the first example sentence, we see, how can we make studying easier? Another way of saying this sentence is, how can we cause studying to become easier? So that's a much better way of saying cause to become, make. So how do we make something easier? So when you see make plus the comparative form of an adjective, in this case we see make easier, it means this cause to become adjective. That's kind of how you can remember this pattern. So some other common examples might be like to make something better, to make something worse, to make something stronger, for example. So this use of make means to cause, to become, and then we use the comparative form. That's another key point here. Make sure to use the comparative form to make something better. So better, not good. Don't use the basic form of the adjective there. The second example sentence was dogs make good pets. So dogs become good pets, in other words, or dogs are like a way of having a good pet is sort of a weird way of saying that. But we see this a lot when talking about preferences, actually. Like in questions too, like what makes a nice house, or what makes a good friend, what makes a good boss. It's not about creating that thing, it's about the qualities in that thing that you think cause it to become good or cause it to become bad. So for example, dogs make good pets because they are loyal. So dogs become good pets, or dogs are able to be good pets because they are loyal. So this use of make doesn't refer to creating or producing anything. It refers to like a way of being, or like something that you can become. So to give another example of this, like what makes a good boss, for example. You could say a good boss is someone who is fair and a good communicator, for example. So that question, what makes a good boss, is what do you think causes someone to be a good boss? That's sort of an awkward, strange way of saying it, but the answer is a good boss is someone who is fair and a good communicator. So those two things are like the qualities that cause someone to be a good boss or allow someone to become a good boss. So keep an eye out for this when you're reading and when you're listening to start. The next additional meaning is to total, to total. Let's look at some examples. 3 plus 5 makes 8. We're both bringing 2 people to dinner, so that makes 6 people. So this use of make is quite easy to understand. We can replace make with total in these sentences. In the first example, 3 plus 5 makes 8. We can replace makes with totals. 3 plus 5 totals 8, or equals 8 as well. In the second example sentence, we can do the same thing. We're both bringing 2 people to dinner, so that makes 6 people. That totals 6 people. That means there are 6 people in total. Let's move on to the next additional meaning. The next additional meaning is to force. Some examples. I made my friends help me move to my new house. Management is making us work overtime. Okay, so this is another quite simple way of understanding the word make. It means to force. To force means to cause someone to do something they probably do not want to do. So you apply pressure in some way. In the first example sentence, I made my friends help me move to my new house. It's like you asked your friends a lot, or you pressured them, or you did something to make them, to cause them to feel they had to help you, to force someone. We use make to show this. There's not like any sort of willpower. It's not like a person volunteered when you use make. It's the opposite. Someone else is applying pressure to do something. As we see in the second example, management is making us work overtime. So the idea here is the employees and the management are the 2 people or the 2 groups. Management is forcing employees to work overtime. So management is putting pressure on employees and causing them to work overtime, but the employees do not want to. That's the idea here. So make is very commonly used to mean force. Why do we use make instead of force? Make sounds less strong. It doesn't sound as strong as force. Force does sound quite strong, but we use make to talk about the same thing, and we tend to use it in more casual situations. Like the cashier at the store made me go to the end of the line, for example. Like I didn't want to do that, but they forced me to. Like it was a rule, for example. So in everyday situations, we use make. In more serious situations, we might use force. Let's move on to the next additional meaning. The next additional meaning is to do an action. Let's take a look at some examples. Hurry up and make a decision. She doesn't make an effort at work these days. So these two example sentences introduce some common ways that we use make along with a noun. In the first example sentence, we see the phrase make a decision. In the second example sentence, we see make an effort. Make is commonly paired with some nouns to refer to doing those things, to performing those actions. So make a decision is another way of saying decide. To make an effort is another way of saying try. These are just different ways that speakers might choose to combine words to communicate. So it's kind of difficult to give a rule for when we should use make in front of a noun. So this is something that I think you can improve your knowledge of through reading especially. I think it's quite hard to just give a rule for the specific kinds of nouns we can use in combination with make. So I would suggest when you're studying something like this, as you read, just kind of keep an eye out for, try to keep watching for those nouns that are paired with make, and that's some kind of action, because we cannot use it for everything. To perform an action, to make an effort, to make a decision, to make trouble is another one. But there's not really a rule for knowing specifically which two things can go together. So I would just recommend lots of practice for this one. It's quite tough. Let's move along now to some variations. The first variation is to make something out. This means to be able to see something difficult to see. Some examples. I think I can make out the letters on the license plate in this picture. Can you make out the address on this crumpled piece of paper? So, to make something out refers to being able to see or read something that is difficult to see, usually because it's like messy or it's blurry. So the first example is about a picture. A license plate is the numbers and the letters we attach to a car when we register the car. So I think I can make out the letters on the license plate in this picture shows us that the picture is difficult to see. Because we're using the phrasal verb, make out. Using make out shows us that there's something about the picture that makes it difficult to see. Maybe the letters are really small, or the picture is not clear, or there's some other reason that it's difficult to see. But using make out the letters, shows us that it's kind of hard to do, but maybe it's possible in this case. The second example sentence is a question. Can you make out the address on this crumpled piece of paper? Crumpled is a key word here. Crumpled means like squashed. So for example, if you have like a tissue, for example, and you put it into a ball, this condition is crumpled. So a piece of paper that is crumpled, if we unfold it, it might be really hard to see information that's written on the paper. So we can use make out. Can you make out the address on this crumpled piece of paper? It's like, can you see, are you able to read the address on this thing that's difficult to see? So you can choose to use make out something to show that it's like a difficult to understand situation or status. The next variation is to make something up. To make something up means to create a story or to lie. Some examples. I made up a story about a family emergency to get a day off of work. She made up an excuse about her health. So to use make something up or made up an excuse, as we see in the second example sentence, means to create something. That means to create a story that is not true. So when you make something up, you are like using your mind to create something. You're using your mind to like build a story that's not true. It's lying, essentially. So it's kind of a nice way of saying lie. But I would say that when we use the expression make something up, it doesn't sound quite as strong as lie. So when we use lie, it does sound very like specific, like you lie, that's a lie. But if we say you made something up, it doesn't sound quite as strong. It's not quite as severe. So we might use this for small lies or like little stories that we tell that maybe don't hurt anybody, but we do it like to make life easier. So to make up a story, I made up a story about a train delay so that I could cancel my appointment, for example. So you're trying like to save a situation, and you might make up a story in something like that. Let's move on to the last variation, to make up for something. To make up for something is to fix a mistake. Some examples. Sorry I had to cancel our date. Let me make up for it by buying dinner next time. She was 15 minutes late, but made up for it by buying the team donuts. So when we use make up for something, it means you repair like a small past mistake. In the first example sentence, a person has to cancel a date. It's like a small inconvenience, or like you're letting the other person down. You're disappointing the other person. So when we say I'll make up for it, it means I will fix that mistake and make an improvement. That's kind of the idea. So maybe in this case, like it's a dinner date, and to make up for it, to fix the mistake, the speaker is offering to pay for dinner next time, like to repair this problem, to fix the problem. In the second example sentence, it's a delay. She was 15 minutes late, but made up for it. It here is the 15-minute delay. It's the problem. She made up for that problem by buying the team donuts. So you'll see this is a very common pattern with make up for something. To make up for something by doing something else. We saw this in the first example sentence too. Let me make up for it by buying dinner next time. In the second example sentence, by buying donuts for the team. So we introduce the mistake, we introduce the desire to repair the mistake, and the fixing behavior there. So make up for something by doing something else. We can combine all of these together to fix mistakes, hopefully. Okay, so those are hopefully a few new ways that you can use the verb make. Of course, there are a lot of other ways of using this verb, and there are a lot of phrasal verbs too. So I highly recommend checking a dictionary for more information about this verb. Of course, if you have questions or comments or want to practice making example sentences with this verb, please feel free to do so in the comment section of this video. If you like the video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Know Your Verbs, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Access your free language gifts right now, before they expire. First, the 50 Most Common Verbs PDF worksheet. Do you know all of these verbs? If not, this PDF writing worksheet will help you master the 50 most common verbs fast. Download it for free right now. Second, the Sports and Exercise Cheat Sheet. Learn to talk about your favorite sports and all about making gains in the gym with this PDF conversation cheat sheet. Third, must-know words and phrases. With this quick lesson, you'll be able to say fast food, menu, order, and much more. Fifth, must-know summer clothes vocab. Do you know how to say t-shirt or shorts in your target language? If you don't, this next 1-minute lesson gives you all the words you need for summer clothing. Fourth, the top 30 words for the classroom. You'll learn words like school, teacher, quiz, and more with this 1-minute lesson. And sixth, want an app that teaches you the language through conversations? Download Innovative Language Learning for free for the Android, iPhone, and iPad. You'll unlock bite-sized lessons that teach you practical conversations and get you speaking in minutes. To get your gifts and language learning resources, click the link in the description below. Download them right now before they expire. Hey everyone, welcome to the Monthly Review, the monthly show on language learning, where you discover new learning strategies, motivational tips, study tools, and resources. By the way, all the lessons and bonuses you're about to see can be downloaded for free on our website. So click the link in the description right now to sign up for your free lifetime account. Okay, today's topic is testing and assessment, a brutally honest way to improve your language. Are you learning a language on your own and not making any meaningful progress? Well, you may not like hearing this, but there's a good chance that you're taking it too easy with how you're learning. Now, taking it easy is not bad, but when you're looking to boost your progress and actually master a language and you're no longer satisfied, something needs to change. And an outside motivator, like a test, can and will fire you up to get better. How? Stick around today and you'll discover why tests are crucial for language progress even if you hate them, 4 ways you can put yourself and your language to the test, and much more. But first, if you're looking for new free language resources and downloads, here are this month's new lessons and resources. Be sure to download these now before we take them down in a few days. First, the 50 Most Common Verbs PDF worksheet. Do you know all of these verbs? If not, this PDF writing worksheet will help you master the 50 most common verbs fast. And second, the Sports and Exercise Conversation Cheat Sheet. You'll learn to talk about your favorite sports and all about making gains in the gym with this PDF conversation cheat sheet. To get your free resources, click the link in the description below right now. They're yours to keep forever. Now to today's topic. Testing and assessment, a brutally honest way to improve your language. If you're learning a language on your own, do you ever feel like you're just coasting through without making real progress? Maybe you're playing vocabulary games with an app and keeping your streak, or you're watching videos by your favorite language YouTubers. But when it comes down to it, you can't speak or keep up with conversations in your target language. Well, then it's very possible that you're taking it a bit too easy. So what should you do? Part 1. Why tests are crucial for language progress. Every year, millions of people sign up for language proficiency tests. You might have heard of these tests as well. There's the JLPT for Japanese, the TOPIK for Korean, DELF for French, HSK for Chinese, and the TOEFL for English. They're not doing this for school. They don't have to do this. They can just easily stay at home, sleep in, avoid discomfort, and continue playing vocabulary games. But millions sign up on their own anyway, every year. They prepare for months, they wake up early on the day of the test, and go through the pain of taking a test. Now, of course, there are some benefits to passing. For example, some jobs will require proof of proficiency, which makes these tests so important. But aside from that, tests are also important learning tools for 2 reasons. First, tests give you an honest assessment of your language skills. And second, for motivation. But let's break these down in full. So if you've ever enrolled in a language school or taken a language class, you have to take a placement test. Based on your results, the teachers see where you stand and place you into an appropriate class, so you can learn what's appropriate for your level. Plus, there's ongoing assessment, like weekly quizzes and tests every month. So, what's the big deal about tests and quizzes? Even if you don't like tests, tests give you an honest assessment of your language skills in specific ways. If you fail the listening part, you know your weakness is there. If you forgot a grammar pattern, now you know you need to practice it more. But if you never put your language to the test, you'd never know. You may not even know the mistakes you're making right now. You don't know what pieces you might be missing. But tests give you an opportunity to check your actual language skills, and they give you a brutal reality check. Now, the second benefit of tests is motivation. Think about it. As a self-learner, no one else is going to push you to do your best. You're not in school, this is your own goal, and if you're like most people, you're going to take it easy on yourself. So when you're wondering why you're not fluent yet, but you've been coasting along, learning words here and there without actually testing your limits, well, that's the thing. You haven't been actually testing yourself and pushing yourself at all. And that's what tests do. They give you that challenge, that urgency to improve, that motivation. There's a specific date and time of the test. You have to be ready by that deadline. Just think back to a night before a test. You felt the urgency back then. You were motivated to pass. So this is exactly why a lot of self-learners take a proficiency test. It gives them something to aim for, something to be motivated about, something to achieve. Now, tests are not the complete answer to language learning, but they do give you a way to assess yourself and give you a challenge. So what can you do as a self-learner? Part 2. How you can put yourself to the test. But first, before you worry about failing, it's not about passing or failing. This is about getting an honest assessment of your progress. Now, the first and most obvious thing you can do is sign up for a language proficiency test. There are many kinds of proficiency tests available, so you can pick the right one for you. By signing up, you now have the added pressure and motivation to improve, something that's hard to do on your own. The second way is, if you're following the learning pathway inside our program, you automatically get tested after every few lessons with multiple choice and teacher-graded assessments. The third way is learn with a teacher, whether it's our Premium Plus program, our live group classes, or your own teacher. Because the ultimate test of your language is when you actually have to speak to a native speaker. And with a native speaking teacher, they can easily assess your language, tell you what you got wrong, and how to improve. The fourth way is to test yourself with a harder lesson inside our program. Think of it as trying to lift a heavier weight at the gym to see if you can do it. You can do this for reading, speaking, and listening. Simply go to a higher level, like intermediate or advanced, and try a lesson. With reading, you can also try our higher level extensive reading books. Again, remember, with all of this, the goal here is not a pass or fail result. The goal is to get an honest assessment of your language skills, what you know and what you don't know. If you realize that you're mispronouncing a certain word, now you know how to correct it. If you can only understand 50% of a lesson, well, that means you should review it until you get to 100%. If you don't understand a lesson dialogue at all, which is where most people get intimidated, make it a goal to master the dialogue. Give yourself a goal to aim for. And if you can't read as smoothly as you had hoped, all it means is that you should give it a few more tries until you're better. Thank you for watching this episode of Monthly Review. Next time, we'll talk about new topics and talking points, the easiest way to increase your speaking time. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. And if you're ready to finally learn language the fast, fun, and easy way and start speaking from your very first lesson, get our complete learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account right now. Click the link in the description. See you next time. Bye! Great work! Here's a reward. Speed up your language learning with our PDF lessons. Get all of our best PDF cheat sheets and ebooks for free. Just click the link in the description.